Gian Artut trifft auf den einzigen Russen im Teilnehmerfeld. 30 Jahre alt, kommt aus Moskau, hat schon beim World Cup of Darts die Farben seines Landes vertreten, war auch schon im Alexandra Palace mit dabei und ist aktuell die Nummer 129 der Welt. The Viking, Boris Koltsov.
By Ricky Evans, who we've just seen, of course, book his place in round 2. That was at the European Darts Trophy in Mulheim in September of 2016. So it's been a while since we've seen Gian Artut, but after a 2-year absence, it seems he can't stay away. He's the only player to come through the host nation qualifiers for both this tournament and last weekend's season opener in Leverkusen. It's fair to say that Gian Artut is perhaps back, not quite back to his best, but maybe making strides towards something like what he was threatening to do all those years ago. Certainly a very impressive run in qualifying last night, but what an encounter to start things off for him this weekend as well. A match perhaps that really embodies the spirits of the European Tour. Germany against Russia. Boris Koltsov once again on the European stage. He made his European Tour debut last year at the European Darts Match Play in June. It's great to have him back once again. He was involved in the World Championship in December, losing to Chris Dobie in the first round. And I really hope that he can use that experience last year to good effect and really start to knit together
to throw first. Game on.
Some consistency on this European Tour stage. Like I say, well, like we said earlier, it could well be the catalyst for him to make the leap to perhaps reevaluate where he wants to go, perhaps think about moving away from Moscow, moving to the UK or another part of Europe if he wants to pursue this career. He's 30 years old, so he has still got time on his side, but there will come a point in his life, in his career, where perhaps he does have to think about making the leap. Paul Nicholson still alongside me as we await the arrival of Dan Dawson. Koltsov against Artut. There's the first talking point. Koltsov rattling in the first 180.
You've got to say, from a standard perspective, at this point in time, Koltsov has to be the favourite. Because I remember watching his Challenge Tour stats last year, and he was banging in some big numbers. And like you said earlier, he's already won on the Challenge Tour. So it says to me that his confidence is trending in the right direction. I've said that phrase more than once today already. But that is very apt, actually, because Gian was fine last night in qualifying. He wasn't playing brilliantly, but he's here. That's the main thing. And Koltsov knew that from 175, Gian Artut was not going to worry him, so he wasn't worried about going for the treble 18 in bull. So that's a lovely setup, and I think that's a sign that he's got his head on already here in leg 1.
I was just going to say as well, I'll just wait till see what happens here. Koltsov does indeed take out tops for the first leg. I wasn't here last weekend in Leverkusen for the first Euro Tour event of the year. Gian, to me, seems to have lost a bit of weight as well. He seems to have really trimmed up a little bit.
Yeah, he's definitely shed a few kilos, that's for sure. And I think he's just working his way back up to the standard that he had previously in his career in the PDC. But yesterday, when he was coming through the qualifiers, he started with a 76 average to win 6-0 against Philip Netzer. Then it was a 78 against Daniel Sprutz in a 6-1 victory. Then it was a 6-3 with an 83. Then he finished with a good 6-4 victory against Dragutin Horvat, who we know a lot about, but his best average was 84. Now, 84 is not going to cut it against Boris today. He's going to have to lift that by at least 6 or 7. And the way that Boris is scoring today, he might have to lift it by 20.
Oh no, look at this. There is a real deficit that Artut faces even after that visit. Koltsov has a bit of a security blanket here. Got it?
Double 8.
Double 8.
On the second leg,
And he's not doing a lot wrong so far.
25 darts for 2 legs is good in any language. Russian, German, English, Swahili. Fantastic stuff from Koltsov, and it's just proving
60.
the level that he has. He is without a doubt the best player from Russia, and I want to see more of him. I get genuinely excited when I watch Boris Koltsov because I know how good he is. And I said exactly that to Chris Dobie before the Worlds. I said, do not take him for granted. No. He is good. And Dobie didn't take him for granted. And that win against Koltsov, I think, set him up well for the Worlds.
I think Dobie looks as though he'd done his homework, shall we say. I think also Koltsov did look a little bit lost in the headlights at times. I think he was a little bit overawed by the occasion. I think it took him a good few legs to settle down in that one. And I think by then the damage was done anyway. But, yeah, playing really well so far. He has been to Hildesheim, of course, already this year.
65.
Koltsov, he was here for the European qualifying school in January. He went very close to winning a tour card on day 3. He led Christian Bunz 3-0 in semi-final that day, only for the German to come back and win it 5-3. There was a pivotal 1-2-1 checkout that really set him on the way. And yeah, once he got that first leg on the board, Bunce, he just looked really strong, and
100.
as every leg went by, Koltsov just started to look panic-stricken. So he was very close. I think had he won his tour card, maybe he could have then made the move
59.
to another part of Europe to really focus on this transition in his career.
For a 14-darter then, he needs to go south.
He's on the third leg.
And he hits the red spot again. 40 darts for 3 legs.
And then I was going to say, as we've mentioned already, he's, as well as having that experience in Q School, he then had the experience on the Challenge Tour as well. He's obviously just thought, right, okay, I've missed out on Q School. We'll head to the Challenge Tour, let's see what happens. And we've mentioned it already. He had that win over Dave Prins in the final of one of the Challenge Tour events.
60.
And becoming the first Russian to win on the Challenge Tour.
Well, let's face it, Rob, if he doesn't want to go back to Q School, just win the Challenge Tour, Boris.
Yep, easy way to do it.
He is in the zone today. It's impossible to take your eyes off his game when he's playing this well. And Artut is probably going to feel like he's been hit with an eagle hammer.
140.
Yeah, 40 darts for 3 legs is high, average-wise. It's getting higher.
From Koltsov. He is taking no prisoners whatsoever. Another 180. He's down to 41. And this one, well, it could be over in the blink of an eye for Jihan Artut. It really could.
Well, there was a victory last week for Van Gerwen that took 9 minutes and 2 seconds. He's trying to beat that. If he keeps going like this, we're going to have to get it timed. Double top. In.
Well, this is frightening stuff. I mean, I don't know who he's playing. I mean, he's playing the board as well. And Koltsov is putting in some very, very impressive numbers already in this one.
117.8 average is astounding. And we did say that Artut was going to have to lift his standard. Well, he's going to have to get another dart.
4 from 5 on his checkouts as well. But
if we're being super critical, the one that missed was missed by quite some way.
Well,
that's being so picky you wouldn't believe it.
But now we see everything pretty much under par, apart from that third leg where he did require 15 darts, but we can forgive him that as well.
Imagine forgiving somebody for a 15-darter.
The other thing about Koltsov as well, the problem he's had this week as well, is the fact that he qualified for this tournament a while ago. So he's had a, well, it can be a good thing. You've got a long time to get ready for it, but sometimes you can sort of lose your way in the meantime. I think there's a lot to be said for winning a qualifier, say, the day before, although not in Artut's case, but you can have that momentum where you qualify on the first night and then you just take that form into the very next day. Koltsov's not had that luxury. He's had to think about this tournament for a long, long time. It was in the middle of January when he went to Prague for the Eastern Europe qualifiers. 5 rounds of qualifying he had to come through as well to make his way through. He beat David Orossi of the Czech Republic 6-4 in his final qualifier. Pal Shekeli of Hungary was the man who ran in closest, 6-5 in round 3.
We did have a Czech player in last week with Pavel Jurkel. I'm sure we may see Pavel and some other Czech stars in Prague in June. Can't wait for that. Artut then to get on the board. Went for bull. That was a bit audacious. Tops.
26.
needs to take these opportunities. He really does. He can't afford to give Koltsov a sniff of anything, because the way Koltsov is playing, you'd fancy him to finish this off. He's now looking at tops as well. There's nothing he can't do at the moment. Everything is cut off. 5 without reply. The finishing is exemplary, and the average still sky high.
Wow, what a finish.
91.
Sometimes it's very validating to big someone up the way that we've bigged up Boris the last 12 months, saying this guy can do it. And then he puts in a performance like this, and someone else who's watching this, well, actually, he's not the kind of guy to watch the games of his prospective opponent, is James Wade.
I was just going to say, who's lying in store here?
Well, Wade, he is playing very, very well. He had a great 7-4 victory late last night against Michael Smith. It was some astonishing stuff from Wade in that match.
22.
But I think even he would struggle to keep up with Boris Koltsov at most points of this match. He's taking his foot off the gas a little bit. He can't afford to do 58. That. Got to keep the intensity, keep the momentum.
58.
It's great to see stars from other countries, because what it does is it gives the PDC the opportunity to potentially look at going to that country for a tour event. So the likes of the Czech Republic
60.
and Hungary and Denmark, they've been looked at, and some of them have got events to look forward to now. What about going to Russia for a darts event? Imagine that. They had a great World Cup.
Super, yeah. Tricky maybe with the visa issue, but I think if they could sort it out for the players and all the staff that go along with it, it could well be a possibility. But
I have heard that the visa application for Russia is very much like about as thick as a Harry Potter book.
140.
Well, maybe a final flourish from Artut with that 140, but that could be his final darts of the afternoon.
I went for bull twice there 52. Because that 10 left 82. Now, it may be bullseye that Artut needs after a single 14. He misses the single, and that could be that. This is to finish off a very good performance from Boris Koltsov.
Well, that's another missed dart at double. And there's another one just to blemish the record ever so slightly, and he's losing his way. He's been exemplary on the doubles all day today in this match, but just opened the door here for Artut, who's now looking at double 16.
20.
Just not sharp enough on those doubles. And he hasn't had a great deal of opportunities, but Koltsov has double 5. It's been a leg to forget, really. But now it's a leg to remember, because it's 6-0 to the Russian. Most of that match, he was absolutely outstanding. He really was flying that Russian flag very, very high. And it'll continue to fly in this tournament as he takes on James Wade tomorrow. Wadey, watch out. Be on your watch, because Boris Koltsov has just averaged a shade under 100. But for most of that match, he was over 115. Boris Koltsov's here to play. He could well go deep if he can go through Wadey. That we'll see tomorrow, like I say. But let's grab a word with him, shall we? Because I was very impressed with that.
Boris, that was big stuff in the first 4 legs. I thought you got an average of 120 after 4 legs.
Yeah, my start, it's amazing because I know Joan. We meet him before 6 years first time. I know him, he's a good player, and my mind go to play good, play good, play good. And I play good the first 4 leg. And after that, a little bit nervous, because it's first game this year, up on the stage, but I'm feeling good.
How big is darts in Russia, by the way?
The Russia, it's big, but we don't have a lot of players. We have 200, 250 players only. And I know in Berlin we have, you have up on 2,000 people only in Berlin. This is good.
Yeah, it's good to see you tomorrow again. Thank you very much. Boris Koltsov, the Viking, steht in der zweiten Runde. Und Gian war so nett und ist noch hier ein bisschen bei mir geblieben, weil nämlich das nächste Match auch erst um 3 Uhr und wir auch mal ein bisschen Zeit haben. Wir haben uns auch beide länger nicht gesehen. In der Qualifying School, ich glaube vor 1, 2 Jahren, da war ich kurz da warst du auch mit dabei. Wo warst du? Was hast du gemacht?
Also ich habe mich erstmal um mein privates Leben gekümmert, bin wieder zurück nach Hannover, habe irgendwann bei meinem 40. Geburtstag gemerkt, ich habe eigentlich gar keine Freunde mehr, weil ich halt so lange auf Tour war und es ist alles komplett weggebrochen und jetzt habe ich einfach alles wieder zusammengebracht und jetzt bin ich wieder da.
Und dann juckt's wieder in den Fingern?
Ja, ein bisschen schon, ja. Aber, das Training war natürlich ein bisschen wenig jetzt zwischen Q-School und letzter Woche. Und jetzt hatte ich den Diogo bei mir die ganze Woche und wir haben echt viel trainiert und mein Arm fühlt sich schon schräg an. Aber dass das gestern wieder läuft, war natürlich klasse und ich freue mich einfach wieder dabei zu sein und gebe mir noch ein bisschen Zeit und dann bin ich auch wieder da.
Das ist ja, glaube ich, eine spannende Frage jetzt auch für die, die hier zuschauen. So dieses Gefühl, das du mal hattest. Ich hatte es beim Warm-Up schon gesagt, irgendwie, wenn ich an dich denke, denke ich vor allem an das Match natürlich gegen Gary Anderson im Eli Pelli. Und wer weiß, wie deine Karriere auch verlaufen wäre, wenn du den dann geknackt hättest. Keine Ahnung, wissen wir alle nicht. Bist du schon wieder dort, dass du auch das Gefühl hast, oder ist es einfach fehlende Matchpraxis? Was fehlt noch bei dir?
Also im Moment ist es so, umso mehr ich trainiere, umso schlimmer wird es vom Arm her und so weiter. Ich muss erstmal wieder komplett den Körper aufbauen. Ich habe einen guten Physio und wir sind jetzt dabei, alles wieder muskulär aufzubauen. Und ich stehe auch nicht wirklich gerade an Bord. Das macht mir natürlich auch so ein paar Probleme. Aber ich denke, das kriegen wir in den nächsten Wochen hin. Umso mehr ich tue und umso besser. Ich hatte eben im Practice-Raum komischerweise ein Riesengefühl. Aber ich bin halt doch noch ein bisschen nervös, wenn ich dann auf die Bühne komme nach den langen Jahren wieder. Und das hat man letzte Woche auch gesehen. Aber ich bin stolz, wieder dabei zu sein und solange das so geht und in den nächsten Wochen werden wir sehen, was passiert.
Das heißt, du wirst die kompletten Qualifier spielen, du bist komplett dabei als Profi unterwegs oder ist das vergleichbar wie vor 2-3 Jahren?
Ja, nee, meine Sponsoren sind bei mir geblieben. Das war ja auch der Grund, warum ich locker aufhören konnte und bin sehr stolz auf die ganzen Jungs und die freuen sich auch, dass ich wieder dabei bin. Eigentlich sollte das letztes Jahr schon soweit sein, aber ich habe einen Laden aufgemacht in Hannover und das war dann doch alles ein bisschen stressig mit allem drum und dran, was dazugehört. Man stellt sich das alles ein bisschen einfacher vor. Und jetzt gucke ich mal, die European Tour ist ganz gut für mich, dass ich noch nicht die Q-School gerockt habe und nicht jetzt wieder komplett unterwegs bin. Ich glaube, das Jahr jetzt die European Tour werde ich langsam wieder mich aufbauen und dann mal sehen, was passiert.
Das ist ja für einen Spieler in deiner Situation gar nicht so schlecht, dass die Tourcard-Inhaber sich woanders qualifizieren müssen. Feld ist schon ein bisschen freier geworden dadurch, ne? Dass Martin Schindler, Max wäre jetzt gesetzt gewesen, aber dass diese Jungs, Gabriel Clemens, Robert Marianovic, in der Qualifying bei euch nicht dabei sind.
Ja, das ist natürlich ein Riesenvorteil für uns. Obwohl ich immer seit Jahren gesagt habe, weil ich freitags bei der Pro Tour auch schon angereist bin, ich möchte gerne in England den Qualifier spielen. Weil das bringt für mich nichts. Damals mussten wir noch nach Gibraltar fliegen und in Gibraltar den Qualifier spielen. Wenn man da den Qualifier dann nicht macht, dann hat man ein riesen Kassenloch. Und also ich war immer einer, der dafür war, dass wir in England, wenn man eine Protokarte hat und vor Ort ist, dass man da auch spielen darf.
Danke, dass du dir Zeit genommen hast. Ich weiß, nach einer Niederlage macht das immer nie so richtig Spaß.
Für mich geht das noch im Moment, weil ich das im Moment noch nicht ganz so ernst nehme. Aber es ist natürlich immer, wenn ich hier stehe, will ich das spielen, was ich eigentlich spielen kann und das ist halt so nervig. Dass er so durchdreht am Anfang ist natürlich auch so ein Ding, aber hat er klasse gemacht und wunderbar.
Vielen Dank, Artut. Also nächstes Turnier, nächste Möglichkeit auf der